So now we're going to give you the strongest statement that we could give you or that you could ever hear. Every bit of negative emotion that you or anyone ever feels is for one reason only. Life caused you to expand, but you're holding to a thought that is not letting you take the expansion. In other words, your mass consciousness could be expanding. Your neighbor, people you live with, could be expanding. But unless your life experience causes you to launch your individual rocket of desire request, unless your life has caused your expansion, you will not feel negative emotion in not keeping up. And you will not feel positive emotion in keeping up. Your emotions, the good feeling ones and the not good feeling ones, are all about your request for expansion and your relationship to that expansion. So it is always true that what you think and how you feel and what you get always match. Always, always. No exception. Law of attraction is not squirrely in any way. Law of attraction gives you the exact equivalent to what you're offering vibrationally. We call that, however, post-manifestational awareness. Oh, I must have been thinking in a way that was depriving me of the well-being that I want regarding this. But there is a pre-manifestational way that you can know where you're headed, and that is by paying attention to your moods, to your attitudes. Pay attention to the way you feel about things. Sometimes you're not sure if you're having a mood or an attitude because you're observing something unwanted, or if you're having a mood or an attitude because you're in the midst of creating something unwanted. Sometimes people say, if I'm sitting on a park bench and I get afraid, does that mean there's a monster in the bushes? Or does it mean I'm just worried about there being a monster in the bushes? And we say, in any case, get off the bench. In other words, your guidance is telling you that you're near something that you don't want. And by getting off the bench, we don't necessarily only mean get up and remove yourself physically. In fact, we don't really mean that so much at all. We mean get off the thought, get off the subject, get off the vantage point, get off the beating of the drum of whatever is giving you that mood. As Jerry and Esther were driving up from Oregon, Esther was driving and they were in their Tahoe, the tow car, and Jerry, who was always busy, was reading. He was working on the editing of something, and he reached into Esther's purse to get something, and while at her request, and while he was doing it, well, they see it as their purse. While he was doing it, he was taking things out of it, and Esther just doesn't see the point of that. Don't take everything out. Just fish around till you find what you're looking for. How long have we had this purse anyway? But Jerry was more comfortable filling his lap full of the contents of the purse, which was making Esther very uncomfortable. And so she is giving him a hard time about it, and he took it well, sort of, and then gave her a hard time back. It's hard to find anything in here. And Esther said, well, you just feel for it. If you feel for it, do you know what that feels like? Just feel for it. So they had their fun with it, and Jerry put things back in, sort of. And then several hours later, they were up in their suite, and Esther was looking for the appointment book, which has all kinds of information that is important to her in it, and it wasn't in her purse. And she said to Jerry, I think my appointment book may be still in the car, which had been checked by the valet. And Esther sort of sat there stubbornly thinking, and I'm not going and getting it. Because I'm not the reason that it's in the car. So Jerry, cheerfully seeming, took the valet ticket and went down and retrieved the book. And while he is gone, Esther is thinking, did I create that? Or did I see it coming? In other words, this has happened before. He doesn't care nearly as much as I do about what's in our purse. And we want to say, in either case, get off the bench. In other words, if Jerry had left things out of Esther's purse 100 times, And so she was pretty certain that he was going to clumsily and stupidly and uncaringly do it again. The point that we're making here is it's Esther's responsibility. Now, this is going to sound hard to hear, but we want you to hear it. It's Esther's responsibility to develop the expectation of what she wants, regardless of the way others are behaving in her experience. Because there is a big case to be made for the fact that her concern about him doing as he was doing with her purse, it doesn't matter whether he trained her into that by leaving things in the car on dozens of occasions. There haven't been dozens of occasions. Well, close to it. But it doesn't matter what past experience has been. What matters is, am I a vibrational match to what I want? And the thing that is so interesting as you co-create with others is that you do not want to take responsibility for what they do. We'll just let that settle in just a little bit. You don't want to take responsibility for how others behave in your experience, but we want you to take responsibility for how you feel about everything that interacts with you. Now we've made an issue out of this. We would encourage Esther to do some focus wheels about lining up the way she feels about Jerry fishing around in her purse. Because she has an attitude about the way Jerry fishes around in her purse that does not serve her and that evokes from Jerry behavior that does not please her. And most of you want to say, well, Jerry's a big boy. Shouldn't he be able, like our children, shouldn't our children be able to hear our words and respond to our words at face value? And we say, you live in a vibrational universe. You are attracting by virtue of your vibration. Your vibration is your point of attraction, and when you have a strong point of attraction about something, the other can't buck your current. Now, Jerry and Esther, they've got a thing going on with this purse because Esther totes all this stuff around, stuff that Jerry needs all the time, and feels responsible for what's in the purse. And so she hasn't cleaned up her vibration about her relationship or Jerry's relationship with this purse, nor has he. In other words, they have purse issues. They do. They have purse issues that neither one of them have felt the need to clean up. In other words, it's not a big thing. If every time they had a purse issue, one of their teeth would fall out, they'd get on it. And what we want to say to you is that it's not the big things in your life that are causing you to train yourself out of vibrational alignment with who you are and what you want. It's little stuff like that all day, every day. It's interacting with people who, when you observe them, you don't feel good, and then you give them the responsibility to do something different so that you can feel good, but they're not going to do something different so that you can feel good, so you feel powerless, so you hold yourself incessantly out of vibrational whack with the fullness of who you are over such insignificant things. We're not kidding you. People say, oh, this terrible thing has happened to me, and I don't remember ever thinking about the specifics of that terrible thing. And we say, you don't have to think about specific things that are unwanted. You don't have to think about the specifics of them. You can just hold yourself in this vibration of disallowance, the fullness of who you are. And if you do it long enough, then you deprive yourself of the well-being that is trying to make its way into your experience.